April 22nd, 2014. The waters of Cook Strait, New Zealand, were colder than most could imagine. British endurance swimmer Adam Walker had been cutting through the waves for hours, already halfway through a grueling 16-mile swim. Every stroke sent icy water coursing around him, the currents tugging relentlessly at his body, sapping strength he didn't have to spare. But for Adam, the water itself was not the real threat. It was what lurked beneath. 6 feet below the surface, a large shadow moved with silent menace, a shape both sleek and terrifying. A shark, possibly a great white, glided like a predator sent to remind him of the fragility of life. Its presence alone was enough to make most swimmers freeze, but Adam had no choice. He couldn't stop. To do so would be to invite disaster. To fight back was equally impossible. He was exposed, vulnerable, entirely human in a realm built for killers. Yet, as if summoned from some ancient, inexplicable instinct, a pod of dolphins appeared. 10, perhaps more, they surged toward him head-on, cutting through the waves with grace and precision. It was a moment that could have spelled doom in any other story, but here it was salvation. The dolphins surrounded Adam, forming a tight, protective circle, with him at the center. Their sleek bodies moved in perfect unison, leaving no gap for the shark to penetrate. For over an hour, they maintained their formation, unwavering and vigilant. It wasn't just a brief intervention. It was a sustained act of guardianship. Adam later described the experience with awe, recounting how secure he felt, how the dolphins seemed like companions, allies in a world where instinct normally favors predator over prey. To him, they weren't wild animals. They were sentinels, keeping watch, holding formation, sharing the water as though he were one of their own. This was not an isolated incident. 10 years earlier, in 2004, Rob Howe, a lifeguard from New Zealand, had experienced something eerily similar. He had been swimming offshore with his 15-year-old daughter and 2 of her friends on what had begun as a calm, ordinary day. The water was placid, sunlight reflecting off gentle waves. And then the dolphins arrived, chaotic, powerful, and deliberate. They slapped the surface with their tails, moving in tight formation. Each swimmer was encircled, and any who drifted too far were gently but firmly nudged back into the center. The group remained in this protective barrier for nearly 40 minutes, until the reason for the dolphins' intervention became frighteningly clear. A 10-foot great white shark had appeared, lurking close enough to strike, its presence undeniable in the clear water. The pod of dolphins had acted as both shield and deterrent. When the shark eventually retreated, the swimmers were able to return to shore unharmed, their lives preserved by the strategic intervention of these remarkable creatures. Both of these encounters raise a question that defies instinct. In a conventional understanding of ocean hierarchy, a great white shark, with its 5,000-pound frame and bone-crushing bite, should dominate a dolphin. A creature weighing a fraction of that and armed with nothing more than agility and speed. Yet, in both these cases, the sharks retreated. Why would some of the ocean's most feared predators hesitate in the presence of an animal that seems, on paper, no match? How do dolphins manage to intimidate a predator capable of annihilation, turning a potential attack into an opportunity for protection? And why, uniquely among ocean creatures, do dolphins sometimes appear willing to risk themselves for humans, beings outside their species entirely? To answer these questions, we must look deep into history, to a time long before humans ever paddled or swam in these waters. Millions of years ago, during the Eocene epoch, the ocean was a place of 2 very different apex predators. Sharks, solitary and silent, had evolved into the ultimate hunters. Ambush was their strategy, tooth their tools, stealth their weapon. They were torpedoes of death, moving swiftly, striking without warning, vanishing into the depths before prey could react. Dolphins, on the other hand, charted a different course. Social creatures from the start, they thrived on collaboration, intelligence, and coordination. Danger for dolphins was not faced alone. It was confronted collectively. They developed communication, strategy, and tactical cooperation. Over millennia, encounters between these two predators were inevitable. Sharks were strong, relentless, and deadly, yet dolphins, through community and intellect, repeatedly outmaneuvered them. Over countless generations, these encounters left a mark on shark behavior, creating a cautious, almost instinctual wariness of pods of dolphins that, at first glance, the dynamic seems counterintuitive. Dolphins are smaller, lighter, and do not possess the brute force that makes sharks apex predators. But size and strength alone do not determine dominance. Consider the ways predators hunt: lions, cheetahs, crocodiles. None ask politely for their prey. They strike with decisiveness and efficiency. In the oceans, the same principle applies. Sharks are predators, but they are also vulnerable in certain respects, and the collective intelligence and agility of dolphins exploit those vulnerabilities. Recent observations underscore this evolutionary dance. On May 28, 2024, off South Africa's Eastern Cape, marine biologist Alison Towner witnessed a massive 4.5-meter great white devouring a dolphin. In mere moments, the dolphin was consumed, folded neatly in a way that demonstrated the shark's efficiency. But before the predator could digest its meal, the situation reversed. The shark's body was torn apart, its liver missing, a clear sign of an orca attack. Even in death, the struggle revealed the complex web of predator-prey interactions in the oceans. To a shark, a single dolphin is simply a meal, soft-bodied, fast, and potentially naive. Yet dolphins have evolved strategies that transform them from prey into formidable opponents when in groups. Dolphins' intelligence plays a central role in this dynamic. With brain-to-body ratios second only to humans, they solve problems, coordinate strategies, and communicate in ways sharks cannot. Echolocation gives them a sonar-like awareness of their surroundings, allowing them to detect threats before those threats are near. Sharks rely on electroreception, a sensory method unmatched for certain hunting tasks, but slow and blunt compared to the dolphin's precision sonar. Dolphins use this advantage, along with speed and agility, to outmaneuver and, when necessary, attack predators strategically. Dolphins' anatomy is equally suited for this role. Their streamlined, torpedo-shaped bodies allow explosive bursts of speed and sudden directional changes. Their tail flukes, moving vertically, provide acceleration and sharp pivoting impossible for a shark's side-to-side tail stroke. A dolphin can reach speeds of 37 miles per hour, compared to the great white's top speed of 25 miles per hour. More importantly, they possess stamina. Sustaining these bursts longer than a shark can maintain its full-speed chase. When dolphins engage a shark, it is not a reckless confrontation. It is a calculated, relentless assault targeting weak points. Gills, underbellies, and soft tissues become zones of strategic strikes. Keeping the predator off balance and under constant pressure, the intelligence of dolphins also manifests in extraordinary, almost shocking problem-solving behaviors. Off the Mississippi coast, marine biologist Errol Raw documented pods of dolphins executing precise, innovative hunting strategies. They decapitated catfish, removing dangerous spines, disposing of the heads, and consuming the flesh safely. Each action demonstrated not brute force, but cognition, innovation, and cultural transmission. These behaviors spread through pods, showing how social learning reinforces survival and effectiveness in the wild. Similar strategies are seen in Western Australia, where dolphins have learned to incapacitate octopuses before consumption, throwing them repeatedly to neutralize their defensive suckers. This combination of strategy, intelligence, and agility transforms dolphins from vulnerable prey into effective predators when necessary. Sharks, powerful though they may be, encounter a calculated threat they cannot ignore. Even the largest great white becomes cautious, unable to strike with certainty, forced to respect the collective power of the pod. When humans enter this equation, dolphins' protective behaviors suggest more than mere coincidence. Studies and observations hint at reasons behind this. Adam Walker's swim, Rob Howe's near-tragic encounter, these are not anomalies. They are glimpses into a broader pattern of interaction between humans, dolphins, and sharks, rooted in millions of years of evolutionary history. Dolphins, far from the gentle, playful caricatures often depicted in popular culture, are strategic, intelligent, and capable of violence when required. They are both predators and protectors, capable of assessing threats, coordinating action, and executing precision tactics against creatures that could otherwise dominate them. Their choices, whether to hunt, defend, or protect, are informed by a complex interplay of intelligence, instinct, and social cohesion through it all. The ocean remains a place of balance, an arena where survival is contingent on strategy as much as strength, and where unexpected alliances can form across species lines. The cases of dolphins defending humans against sharks are windows into this intricate web, revealing the subtle genius of a creature that navigates danger not merely with instinct, but with thought, coordination, and foresight. And as Adam continued to stroke through the freezing waters, shielded by his unlikely protectors, it became clear that in the vast, often cruel expanse of the ocean, intelligence, community, and courage can defy even the most formidable of predators. Dolphins are not reckless. They do not act without cause. Every strike, every maneuver, every protective action is calculated, grounded in instinct, but refined by intelligence. When a shark approaches a pod, it is not merely a predator confronting prey. It is a challenge, an equation that the dolphins solve collectively. Their strikes are precise, targeting gills and underbellies, exploiting weaknesses that no other predator considers. This is a testament to both their physical prowess and their mental acuity. Unlike sharks, which rely on sheer strength, speed, and sudden bursts, dolphins layer their physical capability with strategy. They anticipate, they communicate, they adapt in real time. And when humans enter the water in peril, the same intelligence seems to recognize vulnerability, prompting intervention. These encounters with humans are not the result of random chance. Scientists, including Dr. Denise Herzing, have studied dolphin social behavior extensively. Herzing notes that dolphins live in tightly knit pods where cooperation is not optional, it is necessary for survival. Every member of the pod relies on others for protection, for the successful capture of prey, for the defense of territory. This social structure has consequences. When humans appear in distress, dolphins' instincts seem to extend outward, a momentary integration of outsiders into the protective boundaries of the pod. The phenomenon is rare, but well documented. Humans in extreme danger, shielded by pods, sometimes for extended periods, until the threat passes Dot and Cook Strait and along New Zealand's shores. The conditions are perfect for observing such behavior. Clear waters, strong tidal currents, and the presence of apex predators create a natural stage. Adam Walker's swim, over 6 feet below him, the shadow of the shark looming, illustrates the tension of this balance. The dolphin pod's tight circle surrounding him was not a whimsical act of kindness. It was a tactical maneuver honed over millions of years of evolution. It relied on speed, communication, and the collective understanding of the threat. Each dolphin maintained position, moving subtly, constantly aware of the predator's proximity and Adam's movements. The formation acted as both shield and deterrent. A living armor no human could replicate. Rob Howe's experience years earlier reinforces this. A group of ordinary swimmers, caught off guard by a predatory shark, was encircled by dolphins that imposed order on chaos. The dolphins corrected stragglers, nudged them back into the protective center, and maintained vigilance for 40 minutes. That time span is remarkable. In an ocean where survival is measured in instinctual responses, the ability to sustain coordinated defense for nearly an hour demonstrates exceptional cognition. It is a testament to dolphin stamina, but also their focus and memory. They remember positions, movements, and even adjust dynamically to the human's behavior. The sharks, meanwhile, cannot predict this level of coordination. The result: the predator hesitates, then retreats, outmaneuvered not by strength, but by intelligence and precision. This intelligence extends beyond defense. Dolphins are capable of offensive strategies, even when the target is another predator. They harass sharks to establish territory, defend young, and assert dominance in a shared hunting ground. Evidence from multiple oceans demonstrates repeated patterns. Sharks are injured, deterred, and sometimes killed in conflicts with coordinated pods of dolphins. Individual dolphins may be at a size disadvantage, but numbers, coordination, and knowledge of weaknesses turn the tables. These encounters shape predator behavior over generations. Sharks learn to avoid pods, to anticipate collective defense, and to hesitate even when considering a potential attack. Evolution reinforces these lessons, embedding caution where once there was only aggression. Humans rarely witness the full extent of these interactions. A great white hunting a lone dolphin may seem decisive and brutal, yet when faced with a pod, the same predator hesitates. Dolphins exploit that hesitation with relentless precision. A pod can confuse, tire, and disorient a shark using rapid acceleration, sudden direction changes, and sustained harassment to create openings. When they strike, they target vital areas, often forcing the predator to retreat without a physical confrontation that risks injury. These methods are repeated across generations and oceans, a behavioral pattern that underscores the sophistication of dolphin strategy. Consider the case of the orca attack on the South African shores in 2024. Great white had just killed a nearly 2-meter common dolphin, yet its meal was stolen by a more formidable predator. This violent episode illustrates the brutal rules of the ocean, but it also highlights a key lesson in predator interactions. Intelligence and strategy often trump raw power. Dolphins, aware of this dynamic, have adapted accordingly.